Welcome to Speed Reads. Do cool, escape the mundane, and craft a vibrant existence tailored to your passions. In a world where many of us clock in and clock out of a corporate grind, where life seems more like a checklist of societal expectations than an adventure, the desire to break free often simmers beneath the surface. But for many, the thought of shaking off the shackles of convention and truly owning life seems like a distant dream. Miki Agrawal refused to be one of the many. She thirsted for something more, the chance to live life on her terms, to challenge the status quo, and to immerse herself in experiences that truly matter. She yearned for an existence shaped not by societal norms, but by her passions, values, and aspirations. The idea of doing cool shit became her rallying cry, a mantra for a life that's as audacious as it is empowering. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. In this summaries, you'll embark on an exciting journey of self-discovery and explore what it truly means to do cool shit. You'll learn to redefine the pursuit of your dreams, aligning them not just with external success but with a deeply personal sense of fulfillment and meaning. You'll discover how to dream better, how to devise an existence that echoes your authentic self, and how to manifest your best life. Your life isn't just meant to be lived, it's meant to be savored, shaped, and celebrated. Your journey toward doing cool shit starts now. Embracing change and deviation, the path to personal growth and new opportunity. When she was in college, Miki Agrawal seized an opportunity to study abroad and embarked on an enlightening journey. To sell the idea to her parents, she treated it like a business proposal. And this was her first lesson. Presenting ideas in a manner that highlights mutual benefits is key to earning approval. Soon she was headed to London, driven by academic pursuits and a desire to immerse herself in a different culture. In London, Miki made an unconventional choice. Instead of sticking to her tour group during a bike ride, she joined some local Brits playing soccer. This experience emphasized another lesson: step away from the crowd and embrace the unknown when the opportunity presents itself. From her adventures, Miki crafted a simple yet effective three-step approach to connect with strangers. First, dress to impress. A unique outfit can be a conversation starter. Second, smile genuinely and generously. Finally, be armed with conversation icebreakers like a funny joke or a thought-provoking question. But Miki's experience in London wasn't all sunshine and roses. She found herself in a degrading internship at a PR firm, stuck with tasks that added no value to her personal growth. This experience echoed something she'd already learned with her parents. All aspects of life, relationships, work, even purchases, should be mutually beneficial. When she noticed she wasn't gaining anything from the PR internship, she decided to leave. This move eventually led her to a rewarding stint at the House of Lords. Miki's journey taught her to trust her gut, cut ties with toxic situations, and seek out those who inspire and uplift. There are some steps you can follow to facilitate these same changes in your own life. First, grab a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle, so you have two columns. On one side, list the people, relationships, and activities that inspire you. On the other, list those that drain your energy. For instance, if a certain friendship leaves you feeling stressed, or if a hobby no longer brings joy, they belong in the drain column. After that, actively work on eliminating or reducing the energy drainers from your life. This might mean having difficult conversations or making tough decisions, but remember, it's for your overall well-being. Finally, prioritize and engage more with the positive elements. If painting uplifts you, devote more time to it. If a certain person always leaves you feeling positive, spend more time with them. These actions show the immense potential of deviating from the norm. It's a path that can open up fresh opportunities and create meaningful relationships and networks. So step out, embrace the uncertainties, and get ready for a life-changing journey. Your next chapter is waiting. Daring to dream, navigating hurdles and pursuing passions against all odds. The aftermath of September 11 was a life-altering period for Miki. A profound realization dawned upon her. Life is ephemeral, and she needed to live hers on her own terms. Fueled by this newfound clarity, she wrote down her dreams: to play soccer professionally, create films, and launch her own business. Her first stop was exploring opportunities in women's soccer leagues. Even though Miki lacked the requisite experience, she didn't let that deter her. Her 9-to-5 banking job was another hurdle, as minor league tryouts required her to leave work early. But for Miki, that just meant getting her employers on board. She confronted her managing director with a heartfelt plea about following her dreams and ended up making a convincing case. Miki's approach offers valuable advice for those trying to manifest their dreams. First, seek out the kindest, most understanding person in a position of power in your organization. Make sure you have their undivided attention. Next, ask specific questions and provide precise information about dates and times for what you need. Third, assure them that their interests are still a priority to you. Finally, request their blessing. This will help them empathize with your passion and dreams. Remember, the key is to stay committed to your promises, both to yourself and to others. The journey from a conventional job to following your passion is filled with risks, but it can be immensely rewarding. Treat your existing responsibilities with respect to ensure a smooth transition and thoroughly train your replacement or hand over tasks diligently. In Miki's case, her soccer venture didn't pan out as hoped, but she persevered and took a shot despite the odds. Her journey demonstrates the importance of chasing your dreams, no matter how impossible they may seem. You might be pleasantly surprised by the outcome if you muster the courage to ask for what you truly want. And as life throws unexpected curveballs, it's vital to keep going. Miki suggests taking a leaf out of MacGyver's book and creatively navigating your challenges using the resources at hand. Embracing the twists and turns of life is an essential part of your journey. After all, they're the pathways to growth and self-discovery. Discovering your calling, the intersection of passion and skill. After a foray into professional soccer and an exit from her banking job, Miki found herself at a crossroads. It was a moment to pause, reflect, and consider what direction her life should take next. She described this as the IEX, internal examination. Instead of rushing into any opportunity that knocked on the door, a method that could lead to burnout, Miki emphasized the importance of introspection to discover a path more in tune with her aspirations. Her self-exploration began with two pivotal questions. The first was, what am I genuinely good at? This query went beyond professional abilities and delved into personal strengths as well. For Miki, her list of competencies extended from sports and fitness to marketing, business, writing, languages, and building connections. These were the areas she could potentially leverage in her future endeavors. The second vital question was, what am I passionate about? Here she strived to match her interests with her dreams. Miki's deep-seated love for storytelling and films emerged as a beacon, guiding her toward the film production industry. After navigating initial hurdles and several shifts in her role, Miki recognized that freelancers in the film industry had higher earning potential and decided to embrace the uncertainties associated with striking out on your own. Her passion, combined with unrelenting hard work, facilitated her rapid rise within the industry's ranks. Finding your life's calling is a journey steeped in self-discovery. So ask yourself the questions that Miki asked. Consider the problems you've adeptly solved, the unique contributions you've made in your previous workplaces, and your specific skill set. Try to bridge these areas with activities that bring you joy. Think about the kind of work that would make you feel proud. Once you discover what you're good at and what you're passionate about, it's time for the application phase. But Miki's journey was far from over. Her skills and passions were about to guide her into a new realm, business. Let's explore how Miki took a bold idea and made it a tangible reality. Turning passion into action. 4 steps to bring a business idea to life. After her adventures in the film industry, Miki Agrawal was ready for a new challenge. Her journey took an unexpected turn when she discovered the alarming practices in America's dairy industry. Hormones are pumped into cows to increase milk production. As a pizza lover, this discovery was unsettling. It made her stomach turn with each slice she consumed. Her predicament sparked an entrepreneurial fire within her. There were hardly any decent alternatives in the market, and it was time to change that. She envisaged a different kind of pizzeria, one that aligned with her values. And to go from her vision to a tangible, successful business, Miki devised a 4-step approach. The first step involves diving into the research. Miki immersed herself in the world of pizza and natural foods. Google, with its endless wealth of information, proved an indispensable companion. She sought to understand the dynamics of her chosen industry, inside out. The next step is to engage your network. Miki discussed her idea with savvy individuals from diverse sectors. Each person provided valuable insights that helped crystallize her idea further. She asked specific questions about her envisioned restaurant's look, menu, the necessary capital, and the ideal location. When brainstorming, it's crucial to surround yourself with knowledgeable people. The third step is to find a mentor and shadow them. Miki gained invaluable hands-on experience by shadowing a successful restaurateur she was introduced to through a mutual acquaintance. She observed his operation closely, absorbing lessons and insights. Never underestimate the power of learning from someone who's already traversing the path you wish to walk. The fourth and final step is to assess the demand. Miki confirmed her hunch about the market gap for a hormone-free pizza place through surveys. By seeking feedback from potential customers, she confirmed the viability of her idea. Armed with knowledge, a refined idea, practical experience, and confirmation of demand, Miki was ready to actualize her dream. Over 7 months, she raised seed money, meticulously planned her branding, and secured a prime location. Miki's journey underlines that turning a business idea into a flourishing reality requires well-targeted questions, strategic planning, patience, and a relentless drive. But she also discovered that community is a crucial component of entrepreneurial success and of being able to do the cool shit you want to do. In the final section, you'll learn how Miki found her tribe and the impact it had on her life. Embracing community, how to build and nurture your tribe. Miki remembers the many birthdays, games, and moments shared with her family and friends throughout her childhood. These formative experiences laid the foundation of her tribe, highlighting the fact that achieving remarkable endeavors is tightly knit with cultivating a robust community. As an analogy, Miki cites the example of the Burning Man Festival. This annual event, which began in 1986 with just a few attendees, has expanded into a thriving community of hundreds of thousands, affirming people's inherent tendency to seek togetherness. Larry Harvey, the co-founder of this festival, laid out 10 principles that embody the spirit of a strong community. The first principle, radical inclusion, promotes the idea that everyone belongs. Then there's gifting, which emphasizes unconditional giving. Decommodification advocates for an environment devoid of commercial sponsorships, encouraging genuine relationships. Radical self-reliance is about nurturing your inner resources. Radical self-expression allows everyone to showcase their unique identities. Communal effort celebrates cooperation and collaboration, fostering collective growth. Civic responsibility shows the importance of public welfare. Leave No Trace advises us to respect and protect our environment. Participation encourages everyone to be active contributors, not just spectators. And last, immediacy promotes living in the present moment and cherishing our natural surroundings. Among these principles, a general message stands out. Achieve being through doing. This profound sentiment suggests an enriching way of life that urges us to be present, engaged, and proactive. There are a few simple things you can do to put these principles into practice. Rejoice when you meet your tribe members. Encourage everyone to share their unique stories. Choose deep conversations over small talk. Value everyone's presence. Strive to bring out the best in each other. Uphold honesty and stimulate creativity and helpfulness. Building the right community, as Miki did, is about more than just surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals. It's about creating an inclusive, supportive, and expressive environment that allows everyone to flourish. Remember, the essence of doing cool shit is not just about the output, it's also about the journey, the process, and the people you share it with. So raise a toast to shared experiences, collective growth, and exciting new adventures. Final summary. Daring to diverge from convention can lead to personal growth and unanticipated opportunities, as exemplified by Miki Agrawal. Her life's journey embodies the courage to dream big, pursue passions, and use introspection to uncover strengths and interests. It demonstrates the power of turning ideas into action through diligent research, strategic networking, mentorship, and gauging market demand. It also highlights the importance of community in stimulating creativity and bringing out the best in one another. Your own extraordinary journey awaits when you dare to embrace change, pursue your dreams, and foster your tribe. So go ahead and start doing cool shit and build a life you love. It didn't start with you. What's in it for me? Overcome the long-standing traumas that have shaped your life. Were you ever uncomfortable when you visited grandparents or other relatives? Or did you have a fraught relationship with your parents? Chances are that hidden traumas in your family are to blame. Traumatic events can affect the way we feel and behave, and when they run deep, sometimes trauma requires years of therapy to resolve. But if left unresolved, traumas, just like genes, can be passed on from generation to generation. This can have far worse consequences than just suffering a parent's sour looks over the family Christmas dinner table. How do you overcome the crippling hold of family trauma to ensure that you don't pass on such feelings to your children? As these lessons will show you, language is the key to unlocking the past. In these summaries, you'll also learn how the pain suffered by your great-aunt could haunt you personally today, why a few simple questions are all you need to get to the root of pain, and how repeating positive statements can rewire your brain. Severe trauma can lead to negative behavior and feelings, even when the trauma isn't your own. Many people struggle with emotional problems. Some hold irrational fears, exhibit destructive habits, or feel trapped in unhealthy relationships. If you've ever faced problems such as these, you might think that you're to blame, that you're the source of your emotional turmoil. But often, such unhealthy behavior stems from trauma that you instead experienced, directly or indirectly through your family. Traumatic events, such as an early separation from a mother or an act of violence, can affect a person deeply. These events not only cause stress and fear, but also can change a person's behavior. Importantly, if a person isn't able to resolve the symptoms of such trauma, that person might instead suppress them and as a result develop unhealthy behavioral patterns. Worse, such people can even pass the effects of trauma to the next generation. In short, you can carry symptoms of trauma in your life that you didn't experience. You might have recurrent feelings or exhibit behaviors that aren't the result of any particular event in your own life. One of the author's patients, for example, was overwhelmingly afraid of dying. She was severely claustrophobic and feared being unable to escape from a life or death situation. She described the feeling as, "I can't breathe, I can't get out, I'm going to die." The patient wasn't reacting to trauma from her life, but to the experience of her mother's relatives, who she later learned were murdered in a gas chamber during World War II. Severe trauma like this can be so powerful that echoes of it can affect people who personally didn't experience it. But how exactly can this be the case? Personal traumas can be passed on to successive generations via genes, as well as through behavior. Even if you don't know much about your parents' or grandparents' past, the lives they lived and traumas they experienced can affect you too. In fact, past traumas can lead to behavioral patterns that can deeply affect the family dynamic. We know that people often hide the effects of painful or traumatic events. However, it's important that we find a way to resolve the effects of trauma. If we don't, families can find themselves in a vicious cycle of inherited traumatic feelings. The death of a child is a traumatic event for a couple, for example. Yet if the couple refuses to deal with the reality of the situation, suppressing their painful emotions, they'll likely project this trauma onto a second child. Our biology, too, can be affected by traumatic events. Research has shown that thoughts and emotions can alter a person's genetic code or DNA. This means that a person who suffers from trauma might pass traumatized genes on to children. According to Stanford University cell biologist Bruce Lipton, emotions like fear or anger can biochemically alter the genetic expression of offspring. Trauma also alters stress hormones, and parents can pass on these changes to children as well. Rachel Yehuda, a researcher at Mount Sinai School of Medicine in New York, studied Holocaust survivors with post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. She found that levels of the hormone cortisol were atypically low in the bodies of Holocaust survivors and war veterans. In general, the body increases cortisol levels following a traumatic event in an attempt to normalize the body's systems. Yet people with PTSD often have chronically low levels of cortisol, and as a result, they can potentially pass this trait on to offspring. All in all, trauma doesn't just impact one person, but potentially an entire family. So when it comes to identifying and overcoming trauma, we must examine the family too. Resolving parent-child relationships is key in breaking the cycle of trauma. Even if you had a favorite teacher, a close friend, or perhaps someone in your life you felt was your hero, these individuals probably don't affect who you are and how you feel about yourself as much as your parents. Simply, parents have the strongest influence on a child's life. Why is this the case? Your relationship with your parents shapes who you are. Your parents bring you into this world, and the life force they give you carries on afterward. There are 4 ways a parent-child relationship can be disrupted, called the 4 unconscious themes. These are an overly dependent child-parent relationship, the rejection of a parent, a break in a relationship with the mother, and trauma inherited from a family member. If you suffer from trauma or emotional problems, you should examine your family history and the events of your early childhood. Doing so might help explain what's happening in your emotional life today. There are questions to help you figure out if your experience fits one or more of the 4 unconscious themes. You wonder whether you experienced an interrupted bond, for instance. Look to the events of your mother's pregnancy, whether you might have been adopted or if you were separated from your mother before you were 3 years old. The core language approach, a therapeutic process for solving psychological problems through language, can also help uncover suppressed trauma. Core descriptors are a key component of the core language approach. You can identify them with exercises, such as describing your mother or father to learn better how you feel about them. If you say something like, "My mother was abusive," you can move to the next step, which is writing down an event you blame her for. Exercises such as these can help you pinpoint specific problems in your relationships, so you can start to address them and ultimately resolve them. Discover underlying fears or trauma by finding the right language to shine light on their true nature. It's common to be afraid of spiders or snakes, but there are also many less common fears. And less common fears are often rooted in trauma from your past or your family's past. We have to be particular with the language we use for describing hidden fears, because we often don't have simple words for them, especially when the fear stems from early childhood trauma or inherited trauma. Sigmund Freud wrote about repetition compulsion, or when a person unconsciously tries to bring her suppressed trauma to the surface through repetitive behavior. Our memory or even an absence of memory can alter past experiences, so it's important to use core language to pinpoint the source of the trouble. One of the author's patients felt that the world isn't a safe place. You have to hide who you are. People can hurt you. Those thoughts, her core language, were rooted in her great-aunt's experience in the Holocaust. Her inherited trauma was controlling her. You can't overcome your fears until you know specifically what they are. So uncover your fears by first finding your core complaint. Your core complaint is a phrase that describes your current fear or phobia, such as, "I'm out of control right now and I'm afraid of what I might do." Next, identify your core sentence or the outcome that could result if your fear comes true. It might be, "I'll hurt my child," or "my partner will abandon me," for instance. Once you've found your core complaint and core sentence, you can start to work on the link between your fears and your family's history. Your deepest fears can help point you toward the source of trauma in your family history. Fears are like signposts. They direct us back through events, guiding us to the source of our pain. So how do we find these signposts and follow them down the path to better mental health? You can uncover the root of a problem by paying attention to your symptoms. Use the core language approach to ask questions to help you create your core language map. A core language map is made up of 4 components: the core complaint, the core sentence, the core descriptors, and the core trauma. Each component serves as a signpost, pointing to events in your family history. Those events tell us what we fear and why we fear them. Find your core trauma by examining your deepest fears and anxieties, as well as your relationship with your parents. The grandchild of a Holocaust survivor, for instance, felt that she was going to vaporize and that her body would incinerate in seconds. Such language indicated that the individual was affected by a deeply traumatic event in her family's past. When she looked into her family history, she found that her core trauma was that her relatives were targeted for extermination as part of the Holocaust in World War II. You can use the insights you gain from your core language map in 2 ways. The first is through bridging questions, or questions that use your fear as a tool to discover patterns in your family history. If a person is afraid of hurting a child, for example, a bridging question might be, "Did someone in your family blame themselves for hurting a child?" Or perhaps, "Did anyone in your family feel responsible for a child's death?" The second is to create a family tree. Trace your family history back 3 or 4 generations and place any traumatic events next to the family member who experienced them. A traumatic event might be the early death of a loved one, exclusion from the family due to a dispute, or a major socio-political event, such as a genocide. Free yourself from inherited trauma by making peace with your past and your family's past. A problem is a lot easier to solve once it's been identified. Identifying trauma is the first step toward overcoming it. Creating new visual and verbal language that allows you to communicate with yourself is an important part of the healing process. When you recognize that a relative's trauma is holding you back, you can work on breaking the cycle so the trauma stops with your generation. To do so, you should use written exercises, visualizations, breathing exercises, your personal language, and healing sentences. Healing sentences help you acknowledge your pain and the pain of people who suffered the original trauma. Sentences are powerful. If you repeat a negative sentence like "I'm a failure" over and over, you'll start to believe it. Healing sentences instead work to instill positive feelings. A healing sentence might be, "Instead of reliving what happened to you, I promise to live my life fully." Another might be, "These are not my feelings. I've inherited them from my family." You can also try a healing action, such as lighting a candle in memory of someone in your family with whom you become estranged. A ceremonial act could help you find a safe emotional connection with that person, one step toward finding forgiveness or acceptance. Healing sentences can also help you heal your relationship with your parents. This relationship plays a key role in your healing process, especially if your trauma stems from early childhood. Using a healing sentence such as, "I'll take your love as you give it, not as I expected," is helpful, even if your parents are deceased. This sentence allows you to accept and forgive your parents' shortcomings. Coming to terms with your struggle, communicating your struggle using the right language, and accepting other people's struggles too, are important parts of healing a relationship. Final summary: the key message in this book: don't assume that you are the source of your trauma. Your emotional struggles might have been passed down from relatives, through genes or historical relationships. Use the core language approach to identify your trauma, find its source, and ultimately overcome it. Break the cycle. Defeat your trauma so you don't pass it on to the next generation.